welcome to the SPNN Forum in the Kwame McDonald studio. I am your host, Bukwon Holland, and I am here interviewing Lissa Jones-Lofgren. Welcome back, everyone. I am your host, Bukwon Holland, and I have the plum-pleasing pleasure of interviewing Lissa Jones-Lofgren, the Executive Director of the Shannon Leadership Institute, an organization with more than 30 years of history helping leaders pause, reflect, and reconnect with their deepest values. A storyteller, a culture keeper, a champion, someone that our ancestors is very proud of. Please help me welcome the incomparable Lissa Jones-Lofgren. Welcome, Ms. Lissa.
Thank you, Bukwon. I'm so excited to be here, and I thank SPNN for having this forum and for having us in conversation. Bianca Rhodes is a dream, and I'm so glad she allowed this conversation to happen.
You are iconic in our community. I want to say you have your rightful place in the Minnesota Historical Society. That's just what it is. You know, with so much leadership skills and being the executive director of the Shannon Leadership Institute. How does it feel?
Oh my goodness. First of all, let me just stop to say thank you. I'll have to sit with that a while, but I'm deeply grateful for that. That's very kind of you. And I am both the Executive Director of the Shannon Leadership Institute and the Executive Director of the Gibbons Foundation for African American Literature. Ooh. So I am focused on making certain that African American literature is amplified, preserved, and protected, and shared as broadly as we can share it. And at the same time, I'm the Executive Director at the Shannon, where we believe in helping leaders reconnect to who they are. If a leader can align themselves with their values and use their values as verbs, as in values are actions, we would find a lot more healthier, better functioning organizations. Leadership is critical to anything. Right.
With the way things are now, how do you feel about women in leadership roles? And what does that mean to you?
That's a really good one. I think women are absolutely critical in leadership. Look how few women are leading the world, and look what state it's in. I think I can make the argument that if you have the absence of something, that the presence of it at least presents the opportunity for something to be different. And there just aren't enough women leading globally in corporations, leading globally in the world. Women have sort of been relegated to the nonprofit sector, as in sort of sit aside at the charity, even though the nonprofit is a business just like any other business. It's just what you do with the profits at the end. So a lot of talent is present in women in the nonprofit sector, but not present enough globally. Women, to me, lead differently. We tend to think differently about the way we see the world and the perspectives that we have on things. And I think we need a healthy mix of leadership, male, female, and non-binary.
Excellent, excellent. So when you say radio and you hear that you turn on to 89.9 KMOJ and you hear at 6 o'clock, you hear this amazing Claire-like Huxtable voice, the urban agenda. What is that and what does that mean to you?
Thank you. I haven't had a lot of time, or I haven't spent a lot of time thinking about urban agenda as a body of work. And it's kind of emerging lately that it keeps coming out. Since I retired myself now, it might be even 3 years ago, I was just ready. I was tired of hearing my own voice after 15 years. I sought out other women who might want to take my place on the radio, or I shouldn't say my place, who might want to take that spot on KMOJ. And I just wasn't successful. I don't know why. But like, that was my most vulnerable work. I laid my whole life into that show.
You did.
You know, I told the community things that were true to me and about me that I wouldn't share possibly anywhere else. I learned so much on that show. The audience, the love of the community. In one of my biographies, and I hope it's still in my biography, I say I am clear that it is the community that kept me, and it is the community that still holds me today.
Indeed.
And so I owe everything about Urban Agenda to the community.
Yeah, it was so refueling and rejuvenating to just step into the car around that time and you hear Urban Agenda and the topics that you have. One of which that I was more struck by was literacy in our community, especially with our youth. I was a parent who was afraid to read out loud. That was just my weakness. And I kind of didn't read to my kids. I didn't read to my kids as much as I should. And just knowing as I got older, I should have. It's like, okay, step back into it and just read, just read. How would you address the literacy in the Black community with adults reading to their children?
That's a really good question. I think if we had more access to literature that was about us and looked like us and spoke to our experience, that people would be more inclined to want to read it. I think if we weren't assuaged by so many social determinants of health and difficulty, that would be perhaps easier to read. You don't hear, for example, many wandering and wondering shows on Black radio stations because we don't have the same luxury. So I think that if we can think about literacy, such as the first identification card my grand twins ever had was their library card. So like the library is free. You can now get Libby and you can get library books online. I'm a board director at the Hennepin County Friends of the Libraries, and it's really important. Libraries are really, really important, and they're really powerful places. And if you spend time in them, you end up absorbing all kinds of things you might not have. And the libraries have all kinds of help, homework help and help for families, and they provide a lot more social service work than I would have expected in a typical library in my experience. But libraries make literature accessible to everybody. You didn't read to your kids, and I didn't really embrace writing after the 9th grade. I transferred from public school to the Blake schools. Rick Drill-Mellum, just in case he's still alive and that's his name, he said, you are a good C student and you can write a good C paper, but I'm going to teach you how to write a good A paper.
Ooh.
And now in my adulthood, I'm thinking like there's a billion ways you could have said that differently, so it wouldn't have stuck with me till I was 53 years old when I got asked to finally contribute to an anthology, and I wrote, and I thought to myself, why haven't I been writing? Because my confidence, right? And so I think it's really important to see your parents do as much as they can. Read the newspaper, read a magazine. You don't have to read a novel to read, just read a sign. We used to play a game on the way to long trips with my parents where you'd have to find the letter of the alphabet. You'd have to find a sign with that letter. You couldn't use license plates, but you'd have to find a sign, that said, Arkansas burgers, and you would get A and B type thing. I would like to go back to something that I missed because it's really important.
Yes,
I need to slow myself down. Kwame McDonald, a Black institution living. When he was alive, he would come into a room and very quietly, but very assuredly, take over the space with his presence. He would be teaching in the softest voice, but speaking so loudly to our spirits. I feel very deeply honored to be in a studio named after him, and I want to thank him for everything he poured into me and into our community, because he did it without thinking and he did it without ceasing. Speaking of Black institutions, Professor Mahmoud teaches us that we must do everything we can to protect every Black institution because institutions protect culture. So the Gibbons Foundation for African American Literature and the Kwame McDonald Studio and KMOJ Radio and whatever else you want to consider as Black in the Black community, Black-centered, not Black playing, Black-led, Black-centered institutions focused on Black people.
Right.
We need to protect them. We need to preserve them. We need to support them. If we don't like them, we need to go in and help them, but we need to keep them because when they are gone, it will be very difficult, if not impossible, to get them back. And so to me, Urban Agenda was a way to pay it forward, to say Black is beautiful and it's complicated. And you can define it for yourself, by yourself. And you can define it for yourself in community. That it is a most beautiful culture, that we are most beautiful people, that we ought be celebrated. Toni Morrison taught us that racism is a distraction. If I can just get people to recognize racism is a distraction, we can focus on the building. And that's what Urban Agenda was, to let you know that you're not crazy. That stuff is really happening. As in, they won't let you wear your hair to your job, so you're wearing a wig every day. It's 90 degrees in the summertime.
Yeah. Yeah.
As in, black women are forced to talk about their hair all the time. Every time you go to work and you get your hair done, oh, did you get your hair cut? What is it with black women? So that you can get validated, that black women and black men have loving relationships, that we can raise functional children, that there is beauty in our community, that we have communal care for one another. Those are the things that Urban Agenda was designed to lift up, the beauty and wonder and complexity of black life. And I felt like the community gave me 15 years. My gosh, who could talk for 15 years? It was too much talking. But I just wanted to be sure that in this institution that Bianca helped build, that Emmanuel helped build, that so many other countless people, Allison helped build, that we talk about it and we preserve it and protect it, because otherwise who's going to listen to us, Bukwon? Who's going to ask us to come to a lovely place? Who's going to film us in ways that are affirming? Who's going to be concerned about what we have to say? So I hope that we protect what has been built, because it has come at great cost.
Wow. I am just blown away. You are producing so many leaders when you have the Givens Foundation as well as the Shannon Leadership Institute. Having those graduates come up, take the lessons, and you're implementing a curriculum there. You know, everybody is looking up to you. You're breathing on to so many people. I'm sure once you go out into the community, people, Miss Lissa, Miss Lissa, Miss Lissa. That's the time to really embrace that. Life is short. You offer so much to our community. Just the few minutes that you just spoke. I had so much light. Your illumination, your aura walked in here before you did, and it's going to stay long after you leave. And that's what you're doing among the people. And so I'm sure Kwame McDonald is looking down on you and was like, sis, look at you doing. I really appreciate you. In our community, what is that one thing you can tell our youth? Because they're going through it right now. They got so many crises. They got the OD crisis. I need to keep up with social media crisis. I got to worry about helping my older parents, because a lot of kids that are existing now have older parents because of COVID happened. And so what's that one thing you would like to tell the children?
It's a very deep and complex question, because I think before I would speak to the children, I would speak to the adults. As in, pull it together for the children. As in, when you come to the village, the first thing you ask is, how are the children? And our children are not well. And I don't know how we think, if we think anybody else can fix that. So I almost think to myself, what I say to the babies is, hold on, baby, because change is coming. And to the parents, we have to work on the things that we need to work on for ourselves so that we can give the kind of love that we might be missing. I think it's okay. Thank you. It's a very complex thing to look at the world today. I think about James Baldwin.
Amazing.
He wrote one children's book. He's quoted all over this place.
Yes.
And he wrote one children's book. It was called Little Man, Little Man. And he was wrestling with what to tell his nephew about being a black man in the world. And I think we're still left with that complex question. What do you do in an America who has never even considered you? And at the same time, you are striving to be an African in America. And yet we are so far removed from our traditions, we are more like Americans in a place we don't get. And so I don't really have an answer, Bukwon, yet. But our children deserve to be seen. Our children deserve to be heard. Our children deserve to be loved. And they deserve to be loved, seen, and heard out of the crises they're in. And they deserve it urgently.
Absolutely.
So I don't have advice for them other than to say we need to go get them from all the places where they have been scattered. that needs to be our promise. And if our values are verbs, that needs to be our motion.
I love it. The value are verbs. Starting with the parents, like you said. So,
I'm saying start with the whole village. I'm not
Right,
blaming
right, right.
anybody because we're all responsible and not responsible for everything that's happening. But in our little space of the world, let's have good conversations that lift each other up. I'm not blaming anybody. Nuh-uh. That's not my style. I'm more like, hey, mama, what you need?
that's right.
Because I know you gave birth to that baby and wanted that baby to have what it could have, everything it could have. And the same with Papa.
That's right.
You wanted that baby to have everything good it could have, and stuff gets in the way.
Right. Right.
So, like, what do we need to do together to help each other so the children have somebody to look to?
That's right.
Because if it ain't the church and it ain't the mosque and it ain't the synagogue and it ain't your grandma and it ain't your grandpa, who is it?
Right.
Probably someone we don't want filling the void.
That is true.
So we might want to get back to community care. And that's easier said than done.
Right. And the Shannon Leadership Institute offers that, right? How can someone, to all the viewers, how can someone, a lot of parents can use it, leadership skills, because we've been taught by, this,
Without cultural
Right.
context.
And so how can someone get involved, be a participant in the Shannon Leadership Institute?
Thank you. The Shannon is a bit unique in the sense that it is really designed for mid-career to senior leaders who are really needing a timeout, who are going so fast and the world's moving so quickly and things are changing so much that you can't stop to make a good decision to say, is this aligned with my values? Should I take this money from a funder? Should I choose this program? Should I implement this? Am I hurting the people I'm trying to help? Am I harming where I mean to do good? There are things that we have to stop long enough to ruminate about, to interrogate in a good way, to decide whether or not my values are verbs. If I say I love the Black community, what does love look like? Right? If I say I want to repair something, what does repair look like? Not just these words and lofty things. We need leaders who can actually live their values as verbs, do the things that their hearts call them to do, so that when they are in leadership positions, they're not caused to compromise themselves. So the Shannon is a 6-month leadership intensive, and it focuses on meeting one Friday of every month in a cohort of 20 other leaders. So there are 20 leaders who are wrestling with things at the same time. And we're looking at things like risk-taking and courage. We're looking at things like creating renewal plans. Not that you're in 6 months going to be renewed, that in 6 months you have practiced, as my friend Resma would say, you've done the reps to be able to know how to keep going until you reach the point in your practice where you really want to be, until you really do have alignment, until you can sit still. I give people little timers at conferences to say what a difference 1 minute can make, right? If you just sit for 1 second, if you don't say that thing, or if you do say that thing, if you ponder it just a minute, the outcome could be different, but most of us don't have time. So Shannon offers this 6-month intensive where every month you're going to get individual coaching or coaching in pods. You're going to be in a triad with other leaders having conversations about complex things you're dealing with. And then you'll have a week of reflection because every leader needs reflection time. So we practice. And then once a month, of course, you're leading with us and we're teaching and we're facilitating, we're having conversations. And so it's really designed to provide leaders with the opportunity to understand there's a whole other way that we can lead that is actually very sustainable and will deal with the burnout and the sense of perhaps lack of vision that comes with having to keep your head down every day. So Shannon's a timeout and a step up.
I know that's right. So if someone wanted to sign up, an organization, or someone wanted to donate, where? Because we all love donations.
That's very astute, Bukwon. I hadn't thought of that. The Shannon Institute, ShannonInstitute.com. ShannonInstitute.com. You can find information on our programs, information on donating. The cohort is $3,000 for a 6-month experience. And we are working right now to get organizations to sponsor people who wouldn't otherwise be able to pay and afford to go. Historically, we provided scholarships, but as things have gotten rougher financially in the world, we have to find new ways to provide scholarships. So we are working with a few foundations and a few corporations on that. I would imagine for the 2026 year, for January to June, that I don't know how many we will have lined up, but we will line up as many as we can. But for 2027, I expect that we should be able to offer more.
Excellent, excellent. And the Shannon Leadership Institute is located in Minneapolis.
It's in St. Paul.
So, excuse me.
That's okay.
It's St.
But
Paul.
in the Twin Cities.
Right,
Yes.
right.
Yep.
So if you're looking, get with Lissa Jones. So we've been blessed with wisdom and laughter and a vision from Lissa Jones-Lofgren. From guiding leaders at the Shannon Leadership Institute to amplifying the community voices through Urban Agenda and beyond, she has shown us leadership and storyteller walk hand in hand. Lissa, thank you for showing us that leadership is service, and that is a verb, that courage grows from reflection, and also that our communities thrive when voices are lifted with purpose. On behalf of SPNN Forum, my name is Bukwon Holland, and thank you for joining us inside of the Kwame McDonald studio here in St. Paul. Until next time, move with clarity, chin up, and crown straight, and thank you.